This episode is brought to you by North Texas Honda Dealers. North Texas Honda Dealers, they're here to help.
He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
The throw goes to the right side for Crabtree. It's caught. He he's the worst. Red Raider.
Bussey up the 10. Bussey up the right sideline. He's got to go. He's tackled. Sam Houston wins it. The Bearcats capture their first FCS championship.
Hello and welcome to the Republic of Football. I'm your host, the college editor here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Ishmael Johnson, alongside Carter Yates. Carter, what's up, buddy?
Doing good today. We're in the full Conference USA slate of just football every day of the week now.
It is very weird that you'll just turn on ESPN on Wednesday and yesterday was Liberty and Jacksonville State, which came down the wire. Yeah, every day of the week except Monday. They seed Monday to the NFL, and then it's every other week though.
We're in that stretch of there's 50 days straight of football every day.
It's kind of crazy.
It's awesome. It's kind of awesome is what it is.
We can talk. I think that's probably a good off-season topic for in terms of what do coaches think about playing on weekdays? Because Conference USA basically was yeah, we kind of lost a lot of our firepower in terms of brand recognition with UNT and UTSA and schools like that leaving, but we're just gonna own the midweek, and we're trying to they're trying to carve a new lane, which I see the vision, but I'm also I don't know how these coaches preparing for a Tuesday, Wednesday game.
Well, it's also one of those things, too, is when they talk about, I don't want to play on Friday nights to compete with high school football. It's
sure.
If I play on Tuesday night, I'm competing with middle school football, too. So, you got to...
you got to go see those. You got to go see those seventh graders, man. You got to know which ones you
got. Yeah, I mean, they need their shine, too.
The city's going to be out in full force at the middle schools. Mallory Hartley is also with us. Hi, Mallory.
Hey, how's it going? Oh, I don't think my mic's on.
Uh-oh, is your mic not on? Are you? Wow, well... Okay, anyway. Mallory's mic's not on. She fixes that. But, yeah, no, midweek game, it was pretty cool. I saw a little bit of Liberty and Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State won, lost now?
Yeah, Jacksonville State won, loss. Also, I put Western Kentucky on our midweek picks. Our mid-season picks is the Conference USA champion, and they lost on a
Wait,
field
did you
goal
see the
fell
field
down.
goal, though?
That's right. No,
the kicker
the Jacksonville
tripped
State kicker
or he
fell.
slipped, and he
kicked,
made
and
it.
His leg took out
I was
from
like,
under him.
this is peak Conference USA right here. This is peak Conference USA.
It's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie.
Peak Tuesday football, middle of October.
Peak
Tuesday football, baby. But on today's show, we'll go through the games of the week, obviously, like we do every week. We do have some headlines. We'll talk about the power poll in a bit. Actually, what should we do first? Should we do the power poll first, or should we do the big story from yesterday first?
Big story from yesterday first.
All right, A&M fans, sorry, we got to talk about it. Draylon Miller, a DCTF 5-star, rated by some as a 4-star. We think he's good enough to be a 5. Wide receiver out of Silsbee, Texas, decommits from Texas A&M. He was on a visit along with Terry
Bussey.
He wasn't just on that visit by himself?
No, I don't know if they were both they're together or they were just both on official visits. But they were both at LSU this past weekend. And of course, the same weekend that A&M loses to Tennessee, back-to-back loss in the SEC after losing to Alabama. LSU, again, we'll see what LSU is under Brian Kelly, but there is better vibes coming out of Baton Rouge than College Station right now. And Draylon Miller, he from what we've heard, and you can go read Greg Power's story. He talked to Draylon Miller about it, and from what it looks like, obviously LSU is going to be the rumor mill leader because after the official visit. But he does seem to be open to, I don't want to say there's a lot more schools, but he does have a list of 3 or 4. It looks like. I don't know if A&M's.
Yeah,
on the
I don't
list.
even think A&M was even on the list.
I don't think A&M's
think
back
they
on
are.
the list. So sorry, Aggie fans. I think he is out. But I would probably pencil him in if I had to pick today, LSU. But we'll see.
Well, it also doesn't help that LSU had a 4-star wide receiver decommit.
I was about to say when that news came out, I forgot his name.
It was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, and usually. So for those of you that don't know, Joseph Stone was the guy's name. It was a 4-star wideout.
Right.
For those of you that don't know, there are obviously an allotted amount of offers that can go out, or not offers, commits, scholarships. You can offer as many kids as you want, right? But there are certain things like what they call committable offers, right? What they consider offers that it's it gets very nebulous. Sometimes it gets very shady when it gets to some teams. There are some schools that only offer guys that they want to commit, right? There are some guys who maybe offer a guy just to kind of keep a tab on him, but like that's not a committable offer. So the kid knows or it's a PWO offer.
The many stages of an offer.
Right, exactly. So, but what happens is sometimes if you get a commit and you maybe find yourself in a position to where you maybe get a better player, but they are both taking up the same slot, same position, you're kind of like, hey, that offer that we gave you, about that. Right. It's very much like you probably should look elsewhere type of deal. And it's not, I will just say this, it's not a coincidence, in my opinion, that Stone decommitted the morning of the night that Draylen Miller was set to decommit.
Not at all. It was basically like A&M loses to Tennessee. Oh, that sucks.
Right.
Wait, Terry Bussey and Jalen Miller took a visit to LSU at the same time.
By the way, Terry Bussey just committed like less than a month ago.
Oh.
Yeah, literally on our show,
On
our channels.
Show.
Both of them did. Both of them did.
Bussey was most recently just like a month ago, less than a month ago. So, yeah.
Then that wide receiver decommitted.
Yes.
And then Draylen Miller decommits.
Yes.
And now Bussey is like all over Twitter too, like retweeting Draylen Miller's decommit.
He was liking all the tweets too, because I was like, I'm gonna go do some digging. So I went on Terry Bussey's Twitter and I was looking at his likes and I was like,
and he sent out the eye emoji or like a couple hours before.
No, not the eye emoji. No.
No, I think I showed Pickle. I was sitting with Pickle and I was like, bro. He tweeted out the eyes. There's something going on here.
There's nothing but like LSU fans. Like, oh, let's go. And it's like, we'll see. So obviously, we'll be on top of that story. Greg Powers, follow Greg Powers if you're not on Twitter. He'll have all the info you need. But let's talk about the vibes at A&M, because right now they're not great. No. I was talking on Twitter, and it was an interesting discussion, and it was a good discussion. Shahan at CBS now, formerly of DCTF, he tweeted out like, "Hey, what changed?" He's like, in his mind, none of this is surprising in terms of like what A&M's up to now, like in terms of on the field. And it was a good discussion. We had a back and forth because I was like, I think everybody, if you would have told somebody in March that A&M goes 8-4, right? I think you would have said, yeah, okay, I can see that. I think that's what we had him in the magazine. I can't remember exactly. But the thing was, and after Miami, I think you would have said, yeah, that's probably the ceiling, right? After the Miami loss. Then all of a sudden you had 2 back-to-back wins over probably bad Arkansas and Auburn teams. But regardless, 2 back-to-back wins. You had Alabama all of a sudden looking pretty bad. Not bad, but bad for their standards. You had an SEC West that all of a sudden looked a little winnable. Tennessee, who had lost Brew McCoy, they're one of their top wide receivers. And you were looking at those 2 games back-to-back saying,
there's an opportunity here.
I was about to say, I don't think opinion
West,
of Jimbo Fisher changed. I think the way I put it was the season kind of threw him a bone. Mm-hmm. The season around him kind of threw him a bone saying, hey, here's a lifeline, right? Because 8-4 probably gets it done if this is March talking about it. Mm-hmm. 8-4, you're probably like, yeah, he probably sticks around. 7 wins, anything less, obviously I think there's a bigger discussion. Now I think they're in position for 8-4, but the season presented itself in a way to where that became the floor for me, right? You looked at a beatable Alabama, you looked at a beatable Tennessee, a Tennessee who didn't win in the way that they win. They played pretty poorly on offense, and he still lost. And now you're getting the vibes check of, oh, these guys are decommitting now, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so now all of a sudden 8-4. If this was March, you say 8-4, sure, cool, that's fine. Now you're looking at it to where it was like, this is probably like a 10-2 schedule, actually.
I got 2 things.
Go for it.
So the recruiting thing you bring up with the guys decommitting and the vibes, that is a super important piece because even though those guys aren't on the team, like remember Quinn Ewers decommitting was kind of what did Tom Herman in.
Yeah.
When they didn't have like a losing season even. It was just they made 4 straight bowl games and it was like, look, the recruiting's falling off the map here. We got to get rid of it. It's kind of the same thing with Jimbo going on right now.
And yeah, go ahead.
Also, the 5-7 year, I always kind of felt like that was an aberration a bit.
Yes,
that was like a total collapse of everything went wrong. That wasn't actually how bad the team was. This was not like a rebuild.
Right.
And I think when those first games happened in the SEC against poor teams, it was like, look, this is the talent that A&M has. That's what raises the ceiling, and it's almost like if not now, when Alabama's down, Tennessee's got injuries, and they're also down. LSU's defense is horrible.
Yes.
If not now, then when?
And I think that's where the mood shift kind of came is because, like you mentioned, when Tom Herman was losing and then they were losing the recruits, it was like, okay, then you just it was the ripcord, right? Pull the ripcord, get out of here, and figure it out. with Jimbo, I'm not saying these guys were committing to play under Jimbo as opposed to maybe what A&M offers and just A&M provides as an institution. But still, he was able to hold it together recruiting-wise, right? So they can go 5-7, but then sign the best recruiting class, right, or whatever. And you can kind of look at that and say, okay, well, there's something here. Now, sure, these guys may be freshmen, sophomores coming into their, that greatest recruiting class ever, maybe freshmen and sophomores coming in. So what really is the ceiling, I think was fair to put it at a modest 7 or 8 wins. But like you said, it became a if not now when. Because once you saw Bama lose to Texas, and not only lose to Texas, thoroughly get outplayed at home against Texas, right? And so you were like, okay, they're beatable. And then you saw, like I mentioned with Brew McCoy in Tennessee, okay, Joe Milton's not Hendon Hooker. Brew McCoy was our best receiver. He's out. Okay, there's something. LSU, they've seemed to turn it around, but early in the season they looked very beatable. I still think they're gettable on defense. And then Ole Miss, who has a pretty good team, but they couldn't beat Alabama. It looked like they had some interesting weaknesses. And so it became a if not now when. So that's kind of it kind of became a cascading effect after losing to Tennessee, because it was like, all right, well, there goes the 50-50 game, and we seem to never win 50-50 games in the SEC. And so, yeah, now people are looking at it's buyout season, right? That's basically what it's come down to. It's now going back to the idea that, all right, how much is going to cost to get this guy out of here? Because A&M should be better. And based off what they've brought in, these guys aren't developing maybe in the way that you thought.
But it's not like this buyout goes down enormously after a year or two.
No, which I was about to say, which is why I think this is the year they make a decision on it.
Yeah.
It's because, like, it's not worth, we'll give them a next year. It's like, in the grand scheme of things, it does not, like, you're not going from 20 million to 5, right? You're minusing 10, which in the grand scheme of things, for A&M, for a top-tier program, that's not enough to where you're like, we're going to give them another year because we need to find $10 million. It's like, no, you can find $10 more million.
Well, that also goes to the point of, I've got a friend who's a Texas homer, and when Terry Bussey committed, he said something along the lines of, like, I trust what Jimbo's building. My friend's like, what? Like, what is he building?
Right.
Like, it's been 6 years.
Yes.
I was like, I kind of agree now.
No, we've seen Kevin Sumlin recruit well at A&M. We've seen whoever the head coach is, we've seen them recruit well. And I think it's mostly an indictment on this staff now, right, in terms of developing these guys that you're bringing in. And now you used to be able to just to throw whatever you wanted at these recruits. Now they're like, well, actually, you aren't winning, so I'm going to go to
Well, and then you could also –
who can probably offer me the same amount you are,
yeah,
and then maybe win.
I was going to say, you could also offer the card of, like, hey, we're the only team in Texas in the SEC, right? But now the team down the road, who is recruiting much, much better than you are, is going to be on that same level as you.
Exactly. And the team just a couple more miles north in Oklahoma.
Exactly.
And so it's like now you have 2 teams in your neck of the woods, and you mentioned your biggest rival coming to you in the SEC saying, all right, yeah, we're coming too. By the way, there's another program in LSU just a couple hours that way. Like, so now there's 3 programs around them that can pull apart those that kind of recruiting hotbed that they've been able to establish. So we'll keep tabs on A&M, but that's kind of why it's been a little bit of a
shaky.
Yeah, basically.
To put it lightly.
To put it lightly. All right, let's go to the Power Poll really quick before we get to our games of the week. Mallory, can you throw that up for the watchers? And for the listeners, we'll run down a little bit. Of course, this is all online at TexasFootball.com.
We had a ton of movement this week.
Let's
read it out for all that movement.
Okay, so we'll go from 1st to 13th. Texas State,
Woo!
SMU.
Texas State at number 2.
Let me finish. TCU, Texas A&M, Rice, Houston, UTSA, Texas Tech, North Texas, Baylor, UTEP, Sam Houston. Like I said, go to TexasFootball.com. We have write-ups on each of why these schools are positioned the way they are. All right, let's get back. Yes, Texas State is number 2.
We were the beginning of the season. We were like, how high are these? Can like a team like Texas State or a team like Rice? What is the ceiling? What's the ceiling on this Texas Power Poll?
Yeah.
Did we think it was going to be number 2?
Never in my wildest dreams did I see Texas State at number 2.
I still don't want them at number 2. No, it's happening. I'm still like, I don't like them that high. No, I mean, look, they looked like they were going to have a disappointing loss last week, and they came back and won in the most non-Texas State fashion. If you ask anybody who's seen this team for years, that's a game they lose 10 out of 10 times, and they somehow pulled it out. So, yeah, it's been all good vibes, and they have a bye week, so it's going to be probably a week of good vibes because we'll see what happens on the recruiting trail. I know the staff is out and about right now, and then they have Troy. We'll talk about that next week, but both teams at 5-2. if Texas State hosts Troy looks like the favorite in the West right now. If that with a chance to be bowl eligible, like that's a massive game. It's homecoming too, so like that's gonna be a huge crowd potentially. Yeah, Texas State at number 2 is insane.
What any other big standouts here? I've got one.
I
think Rice is too high.
Maybe.
Personally.
I think them being idle last week helped.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think, one, they beat Houston, so they kind of stay above Houston a little bit.
I forgot they beat Houston.
Now, to be fair, somebody's going to look at SMU and TCU and say, well, TCU beat SMU. Yeah, sure, but I also think that TCU losing the week before last week maybe hindered some vibes a little bit. I think that if they continue on the same trajectory, I think those will flip naturally, obviously, since TCU won the head-to-head matchup. But I mean, I don't disagree. I think UTSA, I think
UTSA should be a little higher.
I was about to say, I think UTSA, we're still reeling from, like, I say disappointing, but, like, it was such a hard non-conference schedule.
Yeah.
But I think we hoped that they would pick one of those off, right? Pick a Houston off, maybe look better against Tennessee, but again, Frank Harris, Josh Cephas, those guys weren't hurt, or JT Clark, those guys weren't healthy.
I think UTSA is like the all-injured team.
I was about to say, and they are getting healthy. Like the past 2 weeks, they've looked like old UTSA a little bit. So
that bye week came at the perfect time for them.
Literally, yes. Frank Harris looks back, so I think that they will be a little bit probably jumping into that 6-5 spot by the end of this week, maybe the next couple weeks. But I could see that Rice being a little too. Let me put it this way: all these teams, Rice, Houston, UTSA, North Texas, and Texas Tech are all 3-3 or 3-4 in Texas Tech's case. So like they're all like right there basically. So we could see a big shift any week now. So that's if you're watching now, you can't obviously see the records, but they're all 3-3, and then Tech is 3-4. So that's like the only. It's kind of a toss up when you look at that 6 through 10 spot really. All right, so that's the Power Poll for this week. Remember to keep track on Sundays. Craven updates those as the weeks conclude, and we'll discuss those on the Sunday recap edition. All right, Mallory. By the way, if you can see that little promo code right there, homefield.com. We don't have a fixed ad read for this episode, but just go ahead and click it. 15% off your first-time purchase. I just got a notification that my Love Ya Owls Rice shirt is on its way.
Okay.
So I'm very pumped about that. So if you want to support us and give us a little bit of help right there, but go buy something from the best, in my opinion, the best retro brand, college brand outfitter out there in home field apparel. Promo code DCTF, or support any of the other shows on the Republican Football Network as well. All right, Mallory, games of the week. You got this is kind of your show, so I'm just gonna shut up.
This is my show. This is my show.
This is your point. This is your.
I do make
bit
the rundown.
Of the show, so go
my
for
bit.
it.
Okay. All right. Let's start off. Number 8 Texas playing at Houston this Saturday at 3 p.m. You can watch it on Fox. Texas coming in as 23.5-point favorites. The over/under set at 61. This is super intriguing.
I think
super intriguing.
Carter, I don't know, when did we talk about this exactly?
We talked about it a little bit Sunday.
Yeah, we did. So Mallory, you weren't on the Sunday recap edition. We did like a little bit of a preview because we both agreed that we have no idea what to think about.
No, not at all.
Like what's the spread again?
23.5.
That's a huge
That's
spread.
A massive
Wasn't
spread.
23.5 spread in like a 38 over under or something? Like I thought the line was insane.
61.
61?
Oh, 60. Who? Oh, that was Stats of War, I think.
That might have been Stats of War.
I think it was Stats of War that had like the over under at like 40 and the spread at 22.5. I was like, well, how does that make sense?
How does that even make sense? No.
I was like,
there's a typo there.
Yeah, I know. But that's a huge spread for a conference game versus a team that, again, Houston's not bad.
Versus a quarterback that kind of owned Texas last year.
Also, that's a good point.
Good point.
I'm going to pick Houston to cover this.
Yeah.
Because that's, again, big spread for a conference game for a team that's not the worst team in the conference. Like, we can agree with that. As much as we may think Houston's mediocre for their standards are right now, they're not the worst team in the conference, and that's worst team in the conference spread right there. How's Texas look after a bye? I don't know.
I think they look a little rusty. I think they come out a little slow. They've been starting slow this year.
By the way, we should mention this is a sold-out home game for Houston. This is this is probably
at Tedecco. Sold out at Tedecco.
Tedecco Stadium, yeah. This is the biggest game in Houston, like recent memory, since probably that Florida State game that they had, the non-conference under, like the Tom Herman era. I mean, like this is a massive game because if you remember Dana Holgerson earlier in the year on a radio show, he asked about his opinions of Texas, and he said, "quote Screw those guys."
Pretty hard quote.
They kept.
Honestly.
They kept.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, no,
it's
pretty hard because politically, Texas was a big reason why Houston couldn't get into the Big 12. It's no coincidence that they're getting in now when Texas is leaving. So this is a massive game for Houston.
Also, I did on that first game of the year when they played UTSA, I did some boots on the ground journalism, and they do not like Texas at all.
Right. No, and it goes back to like they've felt for the longest time with good opinion that they were kind of Texas was the big brother keeping little brother out of the room. Right. It's like, no, go to your room. This is my room. And it was like, it became the why. Why don't you want? And it was, they know that they recruit Houston. And they don't want Houston having the same advantages as Texas did for the last 10 years. So, yeah, this is massive for Houston. And I think it's not as massive for Texas, but it is a prove it type of game for Texas where it's like, no, prove that you are the big brother that was too good to keep this program out, right? It's kind of like staking your place potentially. And so there's going to be some animosity in this game, I think.
To me, a lot of animosity, too, when the Texas fans find out there's no bathrooms on the third level.
I was going to say.
Stadium.
I was going to say, there's definitely going to be, that's one of the insane things. I think Ryan Monso gave us that when we met up with him before Big 12 Media Day. He was like, what's going to be the reaction when they realize that there's no bathrooms on the third level?
What?
There's no concessions either, right?
No, there's nothing on
the third level. You got to
go down.
Nothing.
You got to go down to the second level.
Jeez.
It's fantastic. But no, like, so let me ask you this. If Houston pulls the upset, but
if that happens,
how does it
Lord.
How does it happen? How does it
Donovan
happen?
Smith goes nuclear. Texas offense is sleepwalking throughout the entire game. Texas turns the ball over like 3 times.
Okay.
That's how it happens.
Yeah, okay. I could see that because here's the thing. I think Texas almost needs to make mistakes on offense because as we saw against West Virginia, this defense just cannot sustain itself on its own. Houston's defense, I mean. They can't sustain itself. So if Texas's offense isn't making mistakes or shooting itself in the foot, or Sark isn't is kind of in his groove and is in his own game plan, I don't think there's a chance, right? Because then you're asking Houston's defense, who hasn't made plays all year, to make plays against a team that's clicking. I don't know if that's going to happen. So I think yes, it has to be
force a lot of turnovers,
right, and make things just. I think you might have to make the Quinn Ewers game happen. Because like it happened against Alabama, and he's kind of been okay. He hasn't been game breaking since then. He's been okay, but I think that I don't know. I think you're gonna have to because Jonathan Brooks isn't gonna. I don't know if you. That's not how you get turnovers, right? It's containing Jonathan Brooks and then making Quinn Ewers maybe stretch the field a little bit. That's where you can kind of switch things up in coverage. I don't know. As you can see, I'm kind of running out of ideas of how Houston wins this.
Yeah.
Houston has to throw the kitchen sink at them.
No, 100%.
And if there's ever a game to do it, it's this game.
Sure.
Because Dana said it in his press conferences. It's the same thing Dave Aranda was saying. You're going to win one game. You win the Texas game. It's sold out. You're 22-point underdogs.
Yeah.
Get weird.
Yeah.
Like, let's get weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will say it is a good thing for Houston that their offense has shown some consistency since. I mean, the UTSA game the TCU game was probably their low point, and it's been better since then. So that's been a good point, but they have to have something on defense, just literally any type of havoc or turnovers. So I'd say they cover, but I say Texas wins.
I say Texas covers and wins.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
Good teams win, great teams cover.
Correct. All right, moving on. TCU playing at Kansas State this Saturday at 6 p.m. You can watch it on ESPN2. Kansas State coming in as 6.5-point favorites. The over-under set at 59. It's the Purple Bowl.
Yeah. Thanks for that. The
You're
Purple Bowl. The way she said that.
Producing on the fly.
All right, so there's one factor that determines this game is how much does having tape on Josh Hoover affect Kansas State's game plan? Because, I think he looked great for what they needed him to do, and I think they kept the game simple. me and Carter, that was one thing we discussed on Sunday, was certain teams putting their quarterback in position to win and succeed, and other teams we'll get to later not doing that. But with that being said, was that just BYU not knowing what the hell Josh Hoover was able to do, and him being able to do things within a confined system, and guys like Savion Williams stepping up a little bit and helping out their quarterback? I don't know, because
now he goes on the road to Kansas State.
Yes. That's a tough place to play.
Noted not fun place to play.
Noted not fun place to play. And also, looks like they have that 2-quarterback system kind of worked last week.
Yeah,
Avery Johnson had 5 rushing touchdowns. Will Howard was pretty good. Like when they needed him to come in, like they look like they figured something out with that offense. And again, to be fair, to apply the same logic, does Avery Johnson, now that there's film on him, right? Does Joe Gillespie, is he able to be like, oh, here's what Tech wasn't able to do when they were running him in the run game, and here's what we can kind of contain? I don't know.
I don't think Kansas State should go full Avery Johnson.
Sure.
I don't think I could see Kansas State like straight up benching Will Howard in this game and going full Avery Johnson, and Avery Johnson starts playing like a freshman and making a lot of freshman mistakes. I should also he had 5 touchdowns on 13 carries, right? Like he was incredibly efficient, but also a lot of it, if you watch a lot of those runs, it's a lot of Tech not being around when he was running. No one was home.
Yeah, so like I agree with that. I think they do need to. Usually, I'm very against this 2-quarterback system, but Kansas State seems to found a way that it's worked for them. I don't think they need to abandon it, right? Or abandon Howard for him 100%.
No, not at all. Yeah, and it's like not like Howard has played bad either.
Sure,
like,
no.
The year. It's like they were just trying to get Avery Johnson a couple reps, and then he just like caught fire, and then they had to bring him out there.
Right.
The thing with this TCU game that concerns me is BYU can't run at all, and TCU did a good job stopping them. Kansas State's going to try to run it down their throat.
Yeah,
and we're going to see like if this is a top-tier Big 12 defense this week.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think. One thing that's been really interesting to see, and this is from Jamie Plunkett on Twitter. Of course, if you don't listen to Frogs Insider on the Republican Football Network, please do, with him and Melissa. He's been, he's obviously boots on the ground as far as going to press conferences and all that. Everybody just like, I don't know how much this speaks for it, but like everybody, it's very clear to me that like everybody just likes Josh Hoover.
Yeah.
Like they like the way he prepares. They like the way he treats himself. He carries himself. They like the way he studies the game. He doesn't from what it looks like, he acts like a freshman, where it's like he doesn't act like a quarterback. He acts like what can I learn, right? Kind of thing. And I don't know how much that I'm not speaking of anybody's opinion of Chandler Morris, but like I wasn't getting that vibe from the quotes that they were saying, that there's like that level. I'm not saying, I don't know the opinion of him, but it's been an interesting change of everybody's tone to be like, this guy just like, there's something about him that we just like. And it's like, that's it. I don't know how much that plays into it.
Well, they also said, I was listening to that press conference, they said he's like a really good practice player, and that he was getting, new wide receivers who came in the transfer portal to like throw after practice in the summer, which a lot of that's coach speak, but
sure.
I thought it was funny that Sonny Dykes was like, look, Max Duggan was not a good practice player.
Yeah.
And he looked really good in games and was really bad in practice.
That's hilarious.
And he said like Josh Hoover is like a good practice player, and then translated that to the game.
Yeah.
And I think that was why almost Chandler Morris did win the job last year for Max Duggan, is like Chandler Morris is a great practice player.
Yep. I think one of the interesting quotes that Jamie Plunkett tweet out from Josh Hoover, it said, let's see, I have a really good relationship with a lot of those guys. That's something, this is after their win. That's something we're going to continue to work on, continue to spend time off the field. The big thing is I want those guys to know I care about them. I want them to know that I want them to be successful on Saturdays. I'm going to put time in Monday through Friday to tell them, hey, this is where you're going to go. So it's like there's a leadership factor, but it's still like a humility about it, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, like,
he's not a drill sergeant,
right? He's not a drill sergeant. And again, I think maybe that's coach speak, but like there is something to like a freshman having the gall to be somewhat of a leadership figure, but also like know your place a little bit, right? He's not trying to boss seniors, right? Yeah. And so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. He looked good, and so like we saw a little bit of it come to practice last week against BYU. Does that carry itself? I don't know. I'm more optimistic than I was heading into BYU about this team.
I'm more optimistic. I'm not ready to crown them yet.
No, yeah, 100%.
BYU's defense is a different animal than Kansas State. Well, Kansas State's is a different animal than
BYU's defense is a puppy.
100%.
Right.
He's facing
Kansas State's the dog.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So what was the spread in this one?
6.5. I'm taking Kansas State, but TCU to cover, I think.
I think I'll take Kansas State to cover just because it's at home. But I don't think they'll cover by much, like 7. Maybe.
I think TCU backdoor cover.
You think so?
Yeah. I think it's like not really a game, and then like TCU like backdoors at the very end.
Yeah. All right, last game of the week. UTEP hosting New Mexico State in the 100th edition of Battle of I-10.
Tonight.
Tonight at 8 p.m.
Yep.
You can watch it on ESPN2. New Mexico State coming in as 3-point favorites. The over-under set at 47.5.
Is it another Cade McConnell game tonight?
I was going to say.
I think so.
I was reading about this game a little bit, and Dana Dimmel did say earlier, like this week, that it's going to be McConnell if Hardison isn't ready to go, but I haven't heard anything other than that.
I haven't heard anything either. They seem to be like throwing Hardison out there pregame just to like see how he feels, and like it's always seemed to be a game time decision the past couple weeks for him. If it is,
why not get funky with it? Throw him out there. Like I want to see this kid again.
I think that I agree. I think that yes, he's earned the right, absolutely. Because like here's the thing. The other quarterbacks they got ain't it.
No.
Right? If it's not Hardison, I think we've seen the offense of Calvin Brownholtz. Nah. Like this offense needs somebody who's just able. I think it wasn't even that he was lighting up, like hitting everything on target or anything. He was just willing to throw downfield.
Well, that's the game plan of like, oh, now we got tape on Cade McConnell's like, get 40 yards down the field and jump.
Right.
It's going deep.
But it's like, that's like, we've seen, because when Calvin Brownholtz has been in, he's a running option, but he's not also like, I don't think he processes the game that way to be able to like stretch the field. And you need that when this is UTEP's game plan is like, try to run the ball, not really run the ball, then throw it deep. You just need that courage to throw it deep. And whether it's because he's a third, fourth string quarterback and he says, you know what, I don't care, screw it, I'm just going to wing it. Or that's just like the way he plays. Whatever, it's worked. It worked for last week, and this is the best that offense has looked without Gavin Hardison by far since Gavin Hardison's been hurt past couple years. If he hasn't played, it's always looked stop-start until last week. So, by the way, we should also be giving some big credit to Akari's the wide receiver as well, who Kelly Akari, who obviously broke out and provided that target to go deep to. I believe he's at 500 yards now for the year after going into that game with 200.
Yeah, he actually went nuclear.
Yeah. So
if you had him on your college fantasy team,
if Kelly Akari is the guy that they needed since Cowing and Garrett left, sure. Hopefully he can replicate something similar.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, it's Wednesday night, Conference USA. Let's get weird. Let's just throw it down the field.
Yes.
Let's go bombs away.
This is a huge rivalry game. Go check out a piece from Craven. He's at this game. He's actually in El Paso now. He put up a piece about the rivalry, the Battle of I-10, because it is an interesting, the interesting angle is that in an era of realignment, right, you have all these rivalries getting torn apart. Obviously, last realignment, we saw the Lone Star Showdown get torn apart for 10 years. We're seeing the Pac-12 get ripped apart and all those regional ties and all that. But in the midst of all that, nobody kind of noticed that this rivalry down south between two schools 40 minutes apart all of a sudden has new stakes because it's the conference rivalry now. New Mexico State wasn't a I think they were a FBS independent for a long time. Conference USA brings them in, and it was boom. Okay, all of a sudden, this has stakes. And I think Craven said it's been since the 60s.
61.
61 since these teams have played a conference game against each other.
Yep.
So I'm going to say, first of all, watch this game. Whether or not you care about Group of 5 football, UTEP, New Mexico, whatever, watch this game because you're going to see a very, very, I can't even say hostile environment because New Mexico State's going to travel, right? Yep. And just like if this game was in Las Cruces, UTEP would travel. This is going to be not a 50-50 game, that's too much, but a 70-30 probably because New Mexico State's pretty good this season, and there's reason for them to be hyped. UTEP's going to want to be like, well, we can't let them fill up the stadium. We got to show up too. So, yeah, I'm pumped for this game.
ESPN when they accidentally renew a group of 5 regional rivalry.
Yeah, exactly.
Accidentally renew.
It's like, see, we did it.
All this realignment was for these 2 schools. So, but no, so you have New Mexico State at 4-3, UTEP at 2-5. Obviously, UTEP's trying to save whatever it can this season. I believe New Mexico State, let me see, they have a pretty manageable, they have UTEP, La Tech, Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Auburn for some reason, and then Jacksonville State. So, within the next month, they're looking to get bowl eligible, and, of course, UTEP would love just to salvage something of this season. Watch this game. It's going to be fun. I really do think.
Also, New Mexico State head coach Jerry Kill, one of my favorite coaches.
Oh, fantastic coach. I'm glad he's found a nice spot for him to just kind of, without a lot of pressure, they're just kind of like, hey, go bowling and kind of keep the program stable. And he's good enough to do that. He's a good head coach. I'm very excited for this one. I think New Mexico State pulls it out.
Probably.
Yeah, but it is fun to see. That region of Texas and really New Mexico, that area out there. I've been to both. Last year we went to UTEP, or 2 years ago we went to UTEP. And then when I was a beat writer for Texas State, they played at New Mexico State. Gorgeous, both campuses, gorgeous, incredible campuses. Any high school person listening, consider those 2 schools. They're far away, but they really are environments of their own. So
yeah. Y'all want another game tonight?
Oh, yeah, let's do another Wednesday.
Okay.
Tonight, Sam Houston State hosting FIU at 6 p.m. You can watch it on CBS Sports Network. Sam Houston coming in as 5-point favorites.
How?
40. The over-under set at 4 because FIU's bad.
But who are they playing? I'm so
FIU must be wearing the Miami Vice uniforms again. That must be what it is.
Any Sam Houston fan listening to this, I'm not. You're 0-5. 0-6. I got it wrong. 0-6. I don't know how FIU's favored either.
I just think Sam Houston's on give-up watch.
Maybe.
I just I just get the sense when you're 0-6, it's just very hard.
If we're just talking vibes here, vibes aren't good.
No.
Yeah, it's just very hard to you almost kind of forget how to win. I've said this before. It's you're 0-6, just gets very hard to forget. You kind of forget how to win. Sam Houston offensive stats, not good. 11 points a game, 2.4 rush yards per carry, 69 nice rush yards a game, 5.78 passing yards per attempt.
I will say, so
it's not good.
The one little check mark I'll throw as I'm looking over obviously FIU is not good either. The one little check mark I'll throw for them is that we talked about their defense, Sam Houston's defense, kind of starting off stellar and then just kind of I don't want to say hitting a roadblock, but there's only so many times you can try to be lights out.
When you're on the field 45 minutes a game, it's very hard.
So they've given up 35, 21, and 27 in their 3 conference games so far. FIU, in their 3 conference losses, offense has scored 6, 17, and 14. So this is probably their first real test to where they're by far probably the best unit on the field in the game probably, right? Sam Houston's defense, probably the best unit in the game. That may be the first time I'm saying that about a Sam Houston unit anytime this season. So that's the little kernel of belief. The offense has found a better groove the past couple. Still can't run the ball.
Still passing the ball on 4th and 2 short of the shit.
Still trying to do that.
Yeah.
They're still going to try to run the ball. I don't know why. But at this point, you just got to cut the tie and say we don't have the offensive line to run the ball. But they found some semblance of a passing game that's able to move the ball. I mean, we mentioned it. They were in the Liberty game. They took Jacksonville State to overtime. I think this is the week.
If not now, then when?
If
not now, then when? No.
Speaking
if not
of,
now, then when? Because yes,
this is for the season.
Here's the thing: Kennesaw State, they're technically not. They're joining the Conference USA. They're not there yet. That's probably it because they're still FCS, or I think they're FBS independent or whatever. That may be the last one, but you're running out of chances.
Look,
right?
They can't play in a bowl this year, right?
No.
I
was about to say still bowl eligible.
No,
technically.
Nope. You're playing for pride right now. I think this is the one. I think this is the one because for the first time all year that I've been able to say that they had the best unit in a game, and it's their defense.
Okay, I'll ride with you. I'm putting
We said that last week, though.
Well, here's the thing. That was more me trying to just gas them up. Just like, please, this is it.
This is actually like
we
were kidding last time. Like, we're actually serious this time.
You didn't hear that last week. I will say one thing.
I had my fingers crossed.
I think Craven put this out. One thing that we have not talked about. They're not going to play a Saturday home game until November 4th.
Yeah,
all these have been midweek games, which is nuts to ask for a college campus to show out.
Is next week the week? Is that UTEP week?
Next week is UTEP week.
Next week's UTEP week. That's exciting.
Depending on the result tonight for both games, that
I
could
know.
be very
Is that
very
Wednesday night game
next
week?
That is also a Wednesday night game.
Let's go. We should do a watch party next week.
I was about to say, that sounds fun. That's like an anxiety bowl, like if certain results go there.
Heart attack bowl.
Yeah. A little bit. What's next, Mallory?
All right, let's keep it rolling with the wide zone. Rice playing at Tulsa tomorrow night, Thursday night at 6 p.m. You can watch it on ESPN2. Tulsa coming in as 3-point favorites. The over-under set at 57. Rice needs this one.
Before anyone makes a pick, I just want to say I saw from Brett McMurphy on Twitter that Tulsa is attempting to set the Guinness World Record for world's largest beer tasting event before the game.
I saw this.
Each person required to taste 3 beers. I don't know how Rice competes with this. Are you telling me they're going to walk into enemy territory as they're trying to set a beer tasting world record? And
hey, unless the players take part in that. So then...
That's true. If they're falling short of the record and they're like, hey, get over here. Do your part.
I'm saying,
like, over here.
They're competitive, man.
Yeah. Braylon Braxton, we need one more. I don't. That's a good point. Now, here's the other thing. Are those fans going to then show up to the game?
Think about.
Are the fans going to then show up to the game?
They got to make it some way like you have to go to the game.
I was about to say, like, show me your ticket to get this beer tasting, to kind of a thing. Maybe if they do, then they're in trouble. If they don't, it's like, oh, who cares? It's happening outside the stadium. Who cares about what's happening there? Regardless, Rice had a bye week. Another team that needed a bye week to fix whatever the hell we've been watching on defense all year. They
needed a bye week to lick their wounds from losing to 0-5 Connecticut.
Yes. No, 100%. This is a Rice team who we've liked, but who have glaring weaknesses. And by weaknesses, I mean everybody not named JT Daniels and Luke McCaffrey.
Let's be honest. It's a quarterback wide receiver duo we've liked.
100%. At
this point.
That's fair. Fine.
Yeah,
yes, it's been 2 players that we've liked. And I will say, like, talking to some people on the staff, they know. Like they're not like, this isn't like what are they trying that's not working out. Like they know they've just been bad on defense and then bad in the run game. So like with 2 weeks to prepare, not just for Tulsa, but like prepare maybe a altered game plan in the run game, altered game plan in the back half of the defense. Maybe we'll see. I think Tulsa's the right opponent to have after a bye week because you're not going to be so overmatched that it's like whatever game plan could go out the window in 2 seconds. They lost a close one at FAU, and they've kind of found their footing in conference, but like they haven't been world beaters necessarily, Tulsa. So I don't know. We'll see. I think that they're still playing Cardell Williams, true freshman quarterback. So I don't think Braxton's been healthy. We'll see, right? If Cardell Williams comes out and starts throwing the ball 300 yards on you, I like him. He was good out of I think Spring Westfield, but. Then we're having more problems. I think this is the type of opponent you should be able to get on the right foot against.
This one's very similar for me to the North Texas game versus Temple last week, where it's the must win because the next 3 games for Rice,
a gauntlet.
Yeah,
Tulane, SMU at UTSA. I don't know how our middle of the pack Conference USA Texas teams are just getting these gauntlet stretches in Conference USA, but there actually is no break in between. You play all the worst teams and then all the best teams.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy. I kind of agree with that. The trajectory is very similar to, and UNT was also coming off a bye, I believe. Was it?
Yes.
Was it? Yeah. So it does actually kind of track. This is as easy. I mean, they get Charlotte at the end of the year, but like this is about almost as easy as you're going to get to fix things. They're sitting at 3-3. They obviously to go bowling they need this one because then like you mentioned the 3 next games.
I mean, can you even? Yeah, I was going to say, can you even squeak one out against Tulane, SMU, or UTSA? Then you got Charlotte. That's possible.
Right, and then you got to beat FAU. Yeah, no, it's not easy.
No.
which is kind of to his point, which makes this one.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm putting bat signal must win watch.
On
this one.
Bat signal must win watch on Rice and UTEP. Rice and JT Daniels and Rice. So, and also you're also wasting an incredible year from JT Daniels. Like
I know.
an incredible season from him. So
if not win, like
it's kind of
if
like
not win.
They got JT Daniels like, we figured it out.
And then everybody, the whole plane collapses except like the driver's seat.
We're good.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it. Yeah, and I'm gonna put it as a win.
All right.
I think I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna go win too.
They've had 2 weeks to prepare for a true freshman quarterback. Get it done.
Yeah.
Get it done.
All right. SMU playing at Temple Friday. Man, we've got college football games on every single night for the rest of the week. October 20th at 6 p.m. You can watch it on ESPN2. SMU coming in as 20.5-point favorites. The over-under set at 55. I really, truly don't think SMU has anything to worry about in this one.
I don't.
Especially
I would
if
like this.
EJ Warner's
we can
still
keep
hurt.
this one. We can. Yeah, EJ. If EJ Warner's hurt, we saw Quincy Patterson throws the ball. He can't. For me, this one is which I just don't know if we'll see it because I would love to see if the offense has just
That's
some
what I was
style
about to
points,
say.
some style points, but I also don't think Rhett's going to do
Why,
that against
though?
Temple.
But this is
No.
also okay. I don't think they have anything to worry about in like terms of taking a loss here. But if this offense doesn't kind of get it figured out versus Temple and they still look really stagnant, feast or famine, then I'm kind of worried.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, I was listening to Rhett Lashley's press conference, and he's talking about they're just so feast or famine. You know, it's either like a TD or like a -1 yard gain. And like Preston Stone, he kind of just like running around trying to play hero ball a little bit too much instead of hitting checkdowns. And it's not just him; it's the entire offense kind of going for home runs.
I think they're also like us. They're kind of I think they may be pressing a little bit, trying to get it right because they know the offense they're trying to replicate from the past couple of years. And, I mean, we've talked about it. They just don't have the players to do exactly that. They're efficient. They're a top 40-ish offense. But, like, I think people are used to the top 20 that they've been the past couple of years.
But here's the thing. Why do you need to do that?
You don't.
Because the rest of their schedule, they don't need to do
I was
that.
about
The
to say,
rest of their schedule doesn't call for that. Like,
I think the issue is when they feel like, and just by the law of averages, they feel like it's going to happen to where they're going to need to sometime.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it happens against – the 2 games I have circled are UNT and Rice. 2 teams that have bad defenses but have offenses that can absolutely catch you slipping, right? And what happens when you play a team that's going to push you a little bit to where they're not exactly going to – they don't have a chance to get blown out in a loss, but, like, you could easily find yourself behind, like, 21-10 to either of those teams. And you're like, oh, this defense is bad. We should be able to torch them. And so – I think that's what it is, and
they're also trying to go for the conference championship.
That's
right,
true.
exactly.
Yeah,
So, and it's like eventually you're going to have to play a Tulane. You're going to have to play, probably Tulane, honestly. And that's a team that has both sides of the ball working out pretty well. So I think that's my thing is I don't think they have to your point. I don't think they have to, but I think they know they're going to need to.
it in the future. Yeah, so. I get that. Okay. All right. A team that also needs a desperate win this weekend. Baylor playing at Cincinnati this Saturday, October 21st at 11 a.m. You can watch it on Big 12 Network or ESPN Plus. Cincinnati coming in as 3-point favorites.
Cincinnati on a 4-game losing streak.
A bad Cincinnati
Neither
team.
of the new teams
50.
have won in the Big 12 yet. Is Baylor going to be the one to let one of the new teams?
They have to. This Cincinnati team is awful.
Yeah.
They barely beat a bad
I should revise
team.
that. Houston won, but I mean the other UCF, BYU, and Cincinnati have not won yet. Houston, of course, won last week. They were the first team to actually win a conference game out of the New Bloods. Yeah, they have to.
If
Baylor has to.
If Baylor loses this one, the season's over. Like, it's so over.
I mean,
yeah.
They've got the best player on the field in Blake Shapen. I mean, he's going to easily be the best player that touches that field.
Yeah.
You know, and
Cincinnati's not in a good spot right now.
Emory Jones, this is the year.
Yeah, Emory Jones on year 17.
yeah. Really.
And I think BYU's only conference win is against Cincinnati, which I don't count.
Yeah.
I'm not counting if they beat each other. So to correct my previous statement, but it has to be Baylor. Baylor has to win this one.
I don't know which team's going to win, but neither team's going to have fun.
No, this is going to be the most unwatchable game. I'm going to have both these Twitter accounts from these fan bases on my watch. I'm just going to be like, how miserable are both these guys watching? It's like 17-6.
This has a sickos committee written all over
yes,
it. All
very
over
much
it.
so.
This has drive chart, just like punt, miss field goal, punt, fumble.
Looking like the Big Ten out here.
Also, so Should we talk about the Bruce Feldman coach's hot seat temperature checks?
Yes. Okay. So yes, let's talk about that a little bit. So Bruce Feldman did put out his feeler for the midseason.
Which, by the way, a lot of Texas coaches on that.
Yeah, we'll see. One in particular that caused a little bit of discussion was obviously Dave Aranda, but not for the reason maybe you think. Bruce Feldman seems to think, talking around to people, that he's fairly safe. But one, because it helps to be likable. I think a lot of people like him as a person and a personality. It's easier to give those guys more chances. But apparently his staff may not be.
Rest of his staff.
My question is, why does he get to do that again? Because his first year he came in, Larry Fedora was his offensive coordinator. They were 125th. He fires Larry Fedora, brings in Jeff Grimes and Eric Mateos. Obviously win the conference, but it's been what it's been since then. Why, in my opinion, does he get to do that again?
Right.
In my opinion, he's had 1 year of a good offense.
Yeah.
And
well, it's not him. It's just the guys he's handpicked to do the job.
It's not the guys. It's not him. It's just the guys he's handpicked and the players he's brought in personally.
Yeah.
But he's fine.
So math is not math in here.
So yeah, I mean, to be fair to Bruce, he obviously knows that anything can happen. Like if they go over, obviously things are going to change. But like I think if they see kind of the season panning out the way it is, like 4 wins or whatever, I think that's what he's kind of reading the room right now. I don't know. I just don't see what holding on to him when you kind of know he quote unquote fixed his idea of the transfer portal this offseason, hasn't worked. He thought he fixed the quarterback position, hasn't worked, all that stuff. So I don't know.
Well, Blake Shapen's been better. The offensive line's been really bad.
Right, exactly. But also, that's supposed to be the thing that Eric Mateos, who was brought in from BYU, to fix. And then he brought in 2 offensive linemen from BYU who worked with in this system, and it hasn't worked. So
yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Twitter clips of them from Baylor fans.
Yeah, it has not been good. So go check out that piece from Feldman because, yeah, if you want a good read on that situation, and we'll obviously have some more if everything comes out, but that's kind of what we're hearing as well, is that he may be kind of held on, and he just may have to kind of clean house. So,
yeah. Eesh. All right, let's move on. Unfortunately, North Texas playing at number 23 Tulane this Saturday at 2:30 p.m. You can watch it on ESPN2. Tulane coming in as 20-point favorites. The over/under set at 63.
Here's the thing: I think Tulane will win. I think North Texas will cover. And I think this is a chance, even in a loss, for North Texas to really, really help their fan base out and turn their perception around. Because I think last week helped. They finally had a good two-way performance. If they come out and they hang 28+ on Tulane
on a ranked team,
again, they're probably going to give up 50+. But that's
not the point here.
But
the offense is the point.
Right, I was about to say, like if they can come out and just make them bleed, all of a sudden you're like, the season's not over. Like they just need 3 wins, and it's a tough slate as we talked about with AAC. It's doable with this offense. It's doable.
Yeah,
it's tough. I'm kicking them to cover. I think Tulane still wins.
Yeah, I don't see a way North Texas wins this game, especially because it's at Tulane.
Yeah, I know.
What are your thoughts, Mallory?
I'm just gonna say, I think the fan base, speaking as a fan,
yes,
I think the fan base would be happy with North Texas covering. A 1 to 2 touchdown loss. I think they would be happy with it, and I think that could possibly kind of help chug the season along a little bit more. Because how many wins is North Texas at currently?
They're 3-3.
3-3.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the rest of their schedule is kind of a gauntlet. So I think this one, as long as they can stay competitive in it, keep it close, and then look ahead to next week.
You know what? If North Texas wins this game, I'll buy you a Costco pallet of cocoa butter Vaseline.
Oh my God! Okay, we have to win now. Because he steals all my cocoa butter Vaseline. Wow.
I know, I'm in debt.
Mallory's converted the whole office to using that on their chapped lips, and apparently everybody's just apparently that's their new currency with her.
Yeah.
Okay, you heard it here. I'll shake you on it.
Air shake.
That is amazing. You just brought in the listeners on our inside office banter.
I'm convinced that actually chaps your lips out too, because I used it twice, and now I'm on withdrawal. I need it.
Probably.
Until
I explain that, everybody's like, "What?" Everybody listening's like, "What? Why would you? Why would you buy?" Oh God, that's amazing. Okay, yeah. I think they cover, but yeah, Pat's victory is very limited. It involves more Tulane messing up than North Texas.
Yeah, true.
Wow, I need this win for Tulane.
You're gonna call up Coach Fritz and be like, "Yo, listen, let me talk to the team."
Like, I got excited.
I'm in a bind here.
Here's the thing, too. Like, I don't want the small thing of Vaseline. I want the big thing of Vaseline, okay?
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Oh, God.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. UTSA playing at FAU this Saturday at 5 p.m. You can watch it on ESPN+. UTSA coming in as 3.5-point favorites. The over-under set at 60.
Yeah. What's the status on Trey Moore? Do we know? Is he just out?
I don't know. He got Conference USA Player of the Week, though. No, American Athletic Conference Defense Player of the Week.
Last week?
Yeah.
Okay. So if he's back to being back, then okay, and this defense is doable. They're still not good, but he is their defense basically right now. The problem is this FAU team's coming off like their best performance last week against UCF or USF.
Tom Herman effect, baby.
Yep, I guess so. Where they just absolutely destroyed USF. So I'm going to pick UTSA, but this is a game I'm kind of worried about because like I don't know enough about FAU to be able to say comfortably that UTSA should win or what. So
I know nothing about FAU.
No. It's Case Thompson has not been playing. It's been Daniel Richardson, I think, and I can't say I knew much about him, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm still picking UTSA because they've looked more close to what we've expected them to look like the past couple of weeks. And if Kavorian Barnes can hold onto the ball and give that Frank Harris some balance, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Cool.
All right, let's round it all out with Texas Tech.
Oh, God.
Playing at BYU this Saturday at 6 p.m. You can watch it on FS1. Texas Tech coming in as 4.5-point favorites. The over-under 52.
BYU is looking at Jake Strong and saying, not again.
Yeah.
They are not letting another freshman come in and beat them. Look, this is you can just let me just give you an experiment for all the fans who aren't Tech fans who want an opinion of the temperature gauge of Tech fans right now. Go on Twitter and look up Zach Kidley or look up Taj Brooks. Just search their name. Yeah. And you will get a very fair assessment of where the fan base is.
Or watch the Monday morning coaches press conference and look at the YouTube comment section live chat as it's going through.
Yeah, look, they lost last week because they threw 30 times in one half with the freshman quarterback. And he threw 3 picks.
All right. So watching their press conference was very funny because as Zach Kidley's talking, the comment section is like, what? What is going on?
Yeah. Where's Taj Brooks?
Okay. So basically, Zach Kidley's explanation was when we were putting Jake Strong in, we knew they were going to pack the box and blitz, so therefore we needed to throw. Okay. There is a point in like taking what the defense gives you, but also there is like you need to control what the defense does as well. Like you can't just like.
And also, has the defense not been focusing on Taj Brooks this whole time?
Exactly.
Has Baron Morton been like, well, we got to drop 8 to stop Baron Morton?
And let me tell you something. Zach Kidley also said BYU's MO is to stop the run. So get ready for another game of abandoning the run game and throwing it out 60 times. Let's start 60 times with Jake Strong.
I mean, look, they were literally on pace to do that. I don't know. I'm picking Tech to win this because BYU's hasn't been impressive. And I think that a week to prepare, obviously it's different throwing Jake Strong in the middle of a game. You don't have a game plan for him. So I guess you just stick with the same one you were having with Baron Morton. I don't know. But they have a week to prepare. They've had a week of listening to a lot of critics. I'm not saying that coaches listen to critics all the time, but
Nor should they.
But I'm saying that there's like, all right, maybe people are maybe there's something right, or just Joey getting in his ear being like, hey, maybe we should run the ball.
Well, it is like
running back.
It's weird because they threw out some stat where it was like Taj Brooks is 6th in rushing attempts on the year,
right?
But there is just times where he like looks like he's actually not like he's just out of the offense.
Sure, no, 100%. No, I get that, and yes, that's to be fair, he is like top 10 in carries, but to me that just goes to show you like I still don't like. To me, it's this how like you mentioned, it's how. Last week, at the end of the first half, I think he had 13 carries, which is good. That's a good number to have. That means you're on pace for about close to 30. He finished with 17, right? That's what we mean. And ironically, it's been since their starting quarterback has been out that they were finally using him because Tyler Shuck we've talked about how he was more involved in the run game. Taj Brooks had 11 and 7 carries in their first 2 games. Since then, he's at 19, 25, 21, 31, and then last week you mentioned 17. So I don't know what changed when Tyler Shuck went out versus when Jake Strong came in and Barron. I don't know why it's fluctuated with the type of quarterback they've had. I think he should just be a 20 carry back regardless. So
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Also, someone to watch out for is Texas Tech. Look, they beat Baylor on the road, so they kind of got the monkey off their back a little bit, but going to Provo to play, not easy.
Not easy. So we'll see. I do worry now that you mentioned that BYU is really good against the run, that they're just going to be like, well, we can't do that today.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. What's Tech at right now? 3-4.
It's like they want us to throw with the freshman quarterback, so we have to.
Yeah. Look, I'm just going to rattle this off. So they're 3-4 right now. BYU, TCU, Kansas, UCF, and then Texas. They end the year at Texas. There are 3 wins in there very easily. There's potentially 4 wins in there very easily if you look right. Something has to turn around, and it's going to be with, at the very least, a balanced attack, right?
Yeah.
At least a 50-50 offense. You can't throw this kid out there like they did last week.
Look,
because they were up also, and they ended up losing. I don't know.
Look, I'm a guy who has gone to a school where we've had a quote come back to bite us in the ass.
Yeah.
That Joey McGuire, everything runs through Lubbock, is just like spammed on Twitter every single time they lose.
Yeah.
Like it's like cue that video.
Yeah.
Everything runs through Lubbock.
Yeah.
Which is not fair because they didn't even know there was a camera there. But
I was about
it's
to
like,
say, yes.
So it doesn't count.
but
Okay.
it's still kind of funny.
Everything runs through Lubbock except the offense.
Also, Sam Ellinger didn't know there was a camera on him when he said it either. So,
True.
you know,
So it doesn't count.
not fair.
It doesn't count.
The only people that do not run is us, and we mean the ball. So,
Nice. Nice.
Anyway, please shut me up because I'm tired of talking about this offense not running the ball when knowing that they can.
Yeah.
And it's not just because Taj Brooks is from Manor.
Manor, I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that.
I have the numbers. I haven't mentioned him being from Manor once. I mentioned the numbers, and I need my guy putting up numbies because he can. Okay, so help my boy out. This is last year.
Correct.
Get him the NFL. Come on now. All right, that will do it for us.
Two
Carter
games,
has
two games on bye weeks.
Yes.
Texas A&M and your beloved Fighting Schmales.
Absolutely.
They need that bye week.
We need that rest, baby. And then A&M needs to absolutely lick their wounds. So, anyway, so that'll do it for us this week. Please subscribe to Republic of Football on everywhere you get your podcast. Thank you for watching or listening. We'll listen to any of the other shows as well. Be sure to check TexasFootball.com. Remember promo code DCTF for home field. And we will be back with you on Sunday for a recap edition, bringing you all the results and all that stuff. And we'll see you then. Or if you want to join us again next week, we'll see you then as well. Jimbo Fisher, please give us a call. You have an off week. You have time. And then, Mallory, can I say it?
No. I'm still hurting, okay?
Fine.
What, still?
Rutgers plays football this week. We'll see you later.